Let's begin with an opening statement. Coach Hatcher, give us a sense of how things are in Birmingham.
Well, first of all, it's good to be able to talk Samford football, SoCon football. It's been a long time since we've gotten to do this with all the uncertainty with the pandemic back in the fall, and it continues throughout this time of year as well across the FCS nation. But our guys came back after a 7-week layoff from the end of the spring semester to the beginning of the fall semester. In great spirits. They're excited to be back to play ball, but I think they're more excited just to be back around the guys and trying to get back to some form of a normal routine. So we're still in our conditioning phases. We'll start our I guess what you call it, spring camp, summer camp, winter camp on Monday will be our first day that we'll start practicing, which is also our first day of classes for the spring semester. So right now we're excited. We got a good group of guys, and they're looking forward to being able to play a little football after this long layoff due to the pandemic.
Absolutely. Thank you for that opening statement, Coach. And now, once again, please identify yourself and your media outlet as we open it up for head coach. The Samford Bulldogs now taking your questions.
I must have done a great job in my opening statement.
You answered everything right away. I'll open it up one more time. If there are no questions. Okay, here we go.
Ryan Hennessy, MEC 13 in Birmingham. Definitely a different time to be talking to the media. Just overall, how has this offseason been for you guys? Usually, I'm sure the past couple of years you've been playing football in the fall. What was your fall like overall?
Well, coaches, and players are very routine-based people. And the quicker you get into routine, it makes it a lot easier managing your time and going to class and doing things that college students are required to do. I think the hardest part back when our guys reported back in July, was just more so the unknown. Are we going to play or we're not going to play? And then what that type of preparation would look like over the course of a season. We started extremely slow. It started ramping up, and actually the day we had our best workout was the day that the plug was pulled on the season back in early August. So we had to make some changes. We had to kind of go more into a spring type schedule where we did conditioning drills. We worked a spring practice in the fall, and then with us not being able to come back after Thanksgiving, our guys, again, like I said earlier, had a 7-week layoff. But we stayed in touch. We've learned how to use these Zoom meetings, so we can do things a little bit more virtual now. And again, I just think our guys are excited to play and try to get back into some sort of football routine, even though it is in a different time of the year for us.
Hey, Coach, Craig Haley from Stats Perform. Thank you for your time today. Some of the coaches have been talking about just the number of potential games you can play in a calendar year and just the steps you're going to take to keep players healthy. This may not be easy to do, but should coaches be considering playing players fewer snaps and maybe playing a large amount of players in games?
Well, I think, of course, that's going to be up to each individual team and coach. I mean, there's a lot of factors, Craig, that are out there right now. Right now, knock on wood, I mean, we're doing great with our COVID testing. We got the whole crew out there, been working out each and every day. But as we know, having lived through this pandemic, that could change tomorrow with another round of testing if you had a lot of positives. So as far as the number of games go, is so new. Our athletic director and I have talked about it countless times. What's the right number? I don't think anybody knows. And again, we're in uncharted territory, a different play in a different time of the year. But I do think player safety needs to be at the forefront of any discussion when it comes to playing at a different time of the year. And with our staff, we talk about that daily. We've really taken our conditioning slow. Next week, even though we only get 3 weeks of practice before our first game week, We're going to probably adjust and take it a little slower at practice just to make sure that our guys are ready to play football. And then, our philosophy is we're going to give reps to more people. We did that in the spring, and we're going to continue to do that over the course of the next 3 weeks to have more people available, due to injuries, due to maybe a COVID outbreak, and try to, develop more people as we go along so that, our guys will be ready to play when the time comes. But again, I don't have an answer. If I had an answer for this, I probably wouldn't be on this call. I'd be doing something else. But I think the hardest thing right now for me and our staff and our team is just things change daily. And again, I go back to I'm a big routine guy, and our guys just have to do a good job of adjusting and finding a way to make it work each and every day. And that's what we have our focus on right now.
Coach Christina Chambers with Fox 6 here in Birmingham. Just how excited are you to really showcase Samford football? You're not competing with Power 5 conferences. You guys are out there. How beneficial is playing a spring football season where, people love football year round anyways, and now you're going to get to really showcase your brand on Saturdays?
Well, that's an exciting allure to playing in the spring, kind of being the only show when it comes to football. So I think that's a great appeal to our players, our university, and then especially the people in Alabama who they could watch a football game every day if there was one on. So I do think that's exciting. Again, I think more important than anything is just the opportunity for our guys to be able to play some games this spring, since we missed out on that opportunity in the fall. And I think that's what they're the most excited about, whether we're on TV or anybody can come to the game or not, just a chance to go out there and compete, and to kind of go on what Craig asked earlier, how many games you should play. If you ask my players, they would much rather be practicing than going through the early morning conditioning drills that you normally do at this time of the year.
Hey, Chris. Jeff Spiegel from ABC 3340. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Jeff. Appreciate you being on today.
Hey, I was wondering, I'm looking at the way you guys were picked, and you guys were picked 5th, yet you've got 8 guys who made the preseason All SoCon team. Does it look to you like in this setting and in this spring schedule that it's kind of wide open, like a lot of teams could come out on top in this thing?
Well, I think every year that I've been in this conference, this will be my 6th year at Samford, and then I was at Georgia Southern for 3 seasons. I think from top to bottom, we're all so very close. And you look at the end of the year, how many close games and how many games come down to the last 2 minutes each and every week. So I think you can say that anytime, Jeff, but I think right now, and my SID, Joey Mullins, who does a fabulous job, is sitting across from me now. I think you could have just put all the teams in a hat and picked them out, and whichever one you picked first, you voted them first, and all the way down the line, due to the unknowns. And I think one thing that a lot of people don't realize, this season is going to be different in the spring for multiple reasons. But, one thing is, this is the time of the year that normally we have a AFCA coaching convention. Coaches are able to move and change jobs. I've lost my offensive coordinator, lost my strength coach yesterday to Marshall. And normally you have a little time to we're recruiting now, and you have a few weeks to make those hires. Well, tomorrow I'll be the strength coach in the morning. Next week I'll be the strength coach in conjunction with coaching, practices. So I think you got to take that into account. Other things are, if you had any players that opted out or graduated and decided not to come back for this extra year, you didn't have a chance really to replace those guys like you normally would in a regular cycle. So there's a lot of one-offs out there. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to which teams are the most excited to play. and who adjusts the best on the fly, who will come out on top in this inaugural and hopefully the last spring season that we have to play here at the Southern Conference.
Coach, I've got another one. I was talking to the SWAC commissioner who's in, the Birmingham area, and he was talking about, this was like last week, and he said it's a copycat league, especially this year, with looking at what other conferences are doing. And even with you, Bucky and his team has started before you guys. So are you guys looking at maybe the basketball team, hey, they've been doing this way because you guys are after them now, or looking at other conferences like the SEC right down the street and talking to them about how do we do this right, because you've seen other conferences go through the season?
I think it's like anything. There's really no right or wrong way to do it. If there was, everybody would run the same offense, the same defense, and have the same practice schedule weekly. I think it whatever fits best with the institution you're at that particular time. But, just like each year, we study other offenses and defenses. We put a premium on starting back in the fall. How are other teams testing? How are other teams social distancing? How are other teams having team meetings to limit the contact tracing? So yes, we look at, it doesn't matter the sport. We're all looking for that little bit of edge, how to get the most out of the times that we're in. So we put a lot of time and effort into it. We feel like we have a good plan. It's working so far, but again, tomorrow the CDC may change the guidelines. I mean, it's just each and every day is a new day in itself, more so now than ever.
Hey, Chris and Liam made some plays for you last year, did some really cool things in crunch time situations. How's your quarterback situation looking as you head into the spring right now?
Right now, those guys are battling for the number one spot. We've kind of divvied it up. We got those two battling for one, and then I have three guys that are battling in the second tier, to be the third teamer or possibly move up to be the backup when it's all said and done. Both of them, I thought last year they made good plays for us. At times they were very inconsistent. I think the one thing they've added, both of them are exceptional runners. I don't think we give them enough credit about how well they are able to use their legs to move the ball down the field. But this fall, I thought was you're always trying to, if you're dealt lemons, make lemonade. That's one of my favorite sayings. So we made some lemonade, and I thought that this fall practice, those two competed and had the best 3-4 week stretch of practice that they've had since they've been here. And hopefully that'll carry over to this spring. So I'm excited about both of them. And we had to play tomorrow. I'd flip a coin to see who took the first snaps, and they would both play. And we would be excited about both of them playing.
So we have time for about one more question for Coach Hatcher. Who wants to take it?
Hey, Coach, how about you? Or you've heard from various coaches, about, coaching in a pandemic and everything. How totally comfortable are you coaching during a time like this?
Well, I'm very comfortable with it. Again, we've taken extreme measures to make sure that we do the very best job to keep our guys in out of harm's way. And again, a lot of it, is they got to have great discipline and sacrifice, during this time of year if they want to play and pull this thing off. But I think back in July we were all very hesitant of how this would work. But the more information we've gotten, the better we've gotten at limiting, the amount of time in this room and making sure we sit 6 feet apart, wearing our mask and all that. I really believe that our coaches and players have been, they're very comfortable in what we're doing and how we're doing it. So the buy-in from that standpoint has been outstanding with our football operations.
Coach, thank you again so very much for your time today. We wish you all the best this season and look forward to seeing the team on the field again in Birmingham.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.